Is silence just plain deceit? Or is silence maturity? Or is silence a heap of unspoken lies? Listen to silence, they said it has so much to say. How true is this? Have you been an accomplice before? You're welcome to today's episode titled The Conspiracy of Silence, and I'm your host, Tamara on Tell Me Talks. If you're a new listener, you're welcome to have a few. Don't touch that dial. And if you're an old listener, you know how we do it. You know the drill. You're welcome once again. I'm super happy. It's the 1st of November 2020 and I'm excited. I'm alive. It's a great time to be alive because 2020 has been some kind of very high impact exercise for all of us emotionally, but I'm glad that we're all good and you're welcome to join the Tamara gang. On today's episode, we're talking about the conspiracy of silence, and there are a lot of books, there are a lot of journals surrounding this topic, and movies even I had never heard about, and I was so excited. It kind of made me want to know more, and I wanted to share with you in case you didn't know anything about it. And in one way or another, you probably have been an accomplice in this. That's why I'm talking about it, so that you're now conscious of it and then you tell me what your thoughts are on silence. Now, the conspiracy of silence is a secret agreement to keep silent about an occurrence, situation, or subject in order to protect or promote selfish interests. How many of you are on this table? It might not come very directly, it might come very subtly, I'll give you an instance of something that happened to me a couple of years ago. I was very ill and I had my friend treating me then. I was probably serving. And in Nigeria, we call that National Youth Service Corps, and we are deployed to different states to serve our fatherland. Okay, so I was ill and it was one of my friends that was treating me then. I was really sick and I kept on asking how good I was or how bad I was because I badly reacted to a drug I was given at the time. I was sick and I wanted to know how bad it was, but my friend kept on assuring me that I was good. By the time I came for a checkup, like maybe 2 days later, and the situation reports on it didn't look like it had improved. And then I asked him, I'm like, I thought you said I was this the last time I came here. How come you're saying something much more or worse than what it was? And you're telling me I'm feeling better. And then he told me he was not going to tell me the truth because he didn't want me to freak out. And I felt he lied to me because when I kept asking, he refused to answer me. And then at some point he said, okay, it's fine, it's okay. And he had an accomplice, which was supposed to be my friend, a nurse. And she didn't tell me the truth. I wasn't really upset because I knew they were trying to protect me. But there have been several times where people have actually been accomplices to certain agreements that translate to the conspiracy of silence. I mean, this is a very sensitive topic. You might have somebody who is very close to you that might actually be dying, and you obviously cannot tell the person you're actually dying because you know that you're trying to protect that person's interests, or you know that you don't want the person to die in your hands. That is also another way to look at it. I mean, you're not going to be telling somebody you are dying, you're not getting better, and you expect the person to hug you and be happy. I mean, the person's soul will probably just leave at that point. I know you understand what I mean. So a lot of times we might find ourselves in this situation. It happens in the workplace. Something might actually not be okay, but because it's somebody who is like a senior boss, or somebody who is way older, or somebody who is I wouldn't say senior boy, but no, that is not the appropriate word. But then somebody who is someone of influence, or somebody who is management's favorite, or somebody who is the board of directors' favorite, or somebody who is very important to the company, you probably will not want to say anything because you don't want to look like a bad person. Also, in movies, you see where people probably live with people that are not actually their real parents. Maybe they were relatives, and then the mother had made the person swear that the child will never know his or her paternity or maternity. And it's at the point where the child is probably getting married, when research has been done, that he or she knows who she really is. I'll be telling you a short story as usual, which is my normal practice, because I feel that's like the most practical way to relay my message to you. Now, there was a South Korean girl who met a very rich South Korean young man in the US. And as a matter of fact, the guy was very humble while he was living in the US. He didn't want her to know anything about him or his family, because his family was one of the world's greatest leaders in the South Korean region and probably Singapore at the time. Now, he was very quiet about his status because he really wanted to know her for who she was and all that stuff. You all know that. And at some point, he proposed to her. She agreed. They were very excited. And she was from a single parent home. No offense to single parents. And her mother had told her that her father actually died before she was born. And they had to leave where they came from, which is South Korea, to relocate to the US. And at the point where she was about to meet the guy's parents, the mother looked at her and didn't really like her because she had her reservations about her. She hadn't even met her. She saw her from a distance and had her reservations about her. Immediately, she sent detectives to find out about her, who she was and all of that, only for the woman to come and tell her on the first meeting that she was the daughter of a prostitute. How did she get to know? The woman did her research and found out that her mother was married to her father and ran away from her father and eloped with her lover, who eventually died, but her father is still alive somewhere in South Korea. And she was hearing that for the first time. Of course, she wasn't exactly pleased to hear that, and she had to ask her mother why she did all of that, why she had to do what she did, why would the mother embarrass her like that and all of that. And the mother explained to her how abusive her actual father was and how her stepfather, quote and unquote, like her mother's lover, cared for her throughout her pregnancy, took care of her, and eventually died before she came to life. Of course, the girl had to forgive her mom because she had no other person to call her relative and she was the only child. Now, if I relate it with the circumstances under which we are in Africa, people don't take things like that lightly because they are very upset. That's a movie, by the way, but then in real life, people don't take things like that very lightly because it's like, you are saying I've been living a lie. That is what you're trying to say. And I probably don't have an identity. I'm just living. I don't know who I am. I mean, if you find yourself in such a situation, you are like the subject of interest. And for some very weird reason, they've kept your true person from who you are. I'm not sure you find that funny. And you might likely cause chaos as bad as it can go. I'm very sure of that. That's one of the instances in which somebody can be living in a conspiracy of lies. And also in the military or in government, there are certain things that happen that, of course, they wouldn't want the masses to know about, or they want to save their necks so that they don't fall under like the defaulting category. Of course, you have to keep it away from the media or any other law enforcement agency so you don't fall under the law, right? And even in life, most people are very diplomatic and they don't say how it really happened because they don't want to hurt you or because they don't want to say anything. But in the real sense of it, I think diplomacy is a conspiracy of a lie or of silence. I mean, for me, conspiracy of silence is conspiracy of lies. Sometimes they say silence is maturity. Well, I stand to be corrected. Sometimes they say silence is diplomacy. Well, however you want to drop the bombshell, whether you drop it very low or you throw it at the person, For me, it doesn't really matter because a lie is a lie. Whether the person is silent or not, it just depends on how you pass your message across. I will leave you with this. Listen to the silence they said. Can you really hear what is in the silence? Can you really hear with all the might you have what is in unspoken words? Can you really hear the pulse of the next person's heart? I don't know. And for me, I'm still living, I'm still laughing it out through audio expressions. Thank you for listening and thank you for staying tuned. If you have questions, inquiries, contributions, of course, I'm open to all of that. Enjoy your Sunday and stay blessed. Till we see again next week Sunday. Bye-bye.